What my weather is. Because we'll go ahead and do weather first. And then I figured we want to do our Halloween ones kind of early as well because those are the fun ones too.
I can't believe I forgot Halloween
Yeah,
signs.
you didn't say it. I was like, Katie,
I don't
we
know
did
what's
not
wrong
just
with
talk
me.
about
We
a
just talked
haunted
about
house.
haunted houses.
So I will add, so we will do that one as well. Where is my, I'm sorry if you can hear little growls. It's my little dog. She thinks Big Dog is trying to like steal her food, which is not the case. She's just being very snippy at him. Where is my weather list? Okay. I don't need the weather list because I think I have that already. Can you stop? So, the first sign we're going to do is the sign for weather. And so the sign for weather is you're going to have two W's. Yes, we can do that. Okay. And you're going to have them together and you're going to go back and forth. Weather, 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 weather. Okay. So this is weather. The first one we're going to do is the sign for sun. And so the sign for sun, it's also the same similar sign for sunny. There's just like a slight variation. I will get into that. So the sign for sun is you're going to have a flat O. Okay. You're going to start it away from you and you're going to turn it in open. Sun, sun, sun. And it's more like it's the, if you think about it, it's the circle of the sun and it's shining the rays on you. So this is the sun and it's shining on you. Sun, sun. Um, Also sunny. Um, if you were talking about, wow, like that sun is beating down on me, it is hot, it is going. What you will do is you're gonna do the same motion for sun, and then you're gonna go and you're gonna keep on bouncing on you. Like showing like it is just going, like it is, the rays are strong. Okay, so sun. And you kind of make a face of like, ooh, this is hot. I don't like this. Unless you're someone who loves the sun. I'm not a big sun girl, okay? I'm a fall girl, if we didn't catch that already in my earlier comments. So the sun shining down on me, not always my favorite. So sunny. Then we have cloudy. Cloudy is going to be, if you remember when we did confused last week, okay? Similar way. So you have two fives. You're going to slightly bend them. You're going to turn them to kind of face, and you're going to come up and go across. Cloudy, cloudy, cloudy. So if you remember, confused was right here, lower on our forehead. Cloudy is going to be up higher because it's more towards the sky. Okay, cloudy. Then we have rain. So for rain, you're going to have, there are two ways you can do it. I'm going to show you the normal rain, and then I'm going to show you how you can kind of add more to get more of the point across, kind of more dramatic. So the first rain is you're going to have two fives again. You're going to have them kind of up top here, and you're going to bounce them down. Rain, rain, rain. And it's the motion of each raindrop coming down. Rain. Rain, it's raining, it's raining. Rain. Now, for those days when we have really bad storms and it's really like downpouring and we're saying it's pouring outside, you would go rain. And it's going, because it's going so fast, it doesn't look like drops anymore. It is just streamlining. Rain. hmm Okay. Then we have lightning. For lightning, you're going to have your non-dominant flat facing down. Your dominant's going to have a pointer finger. You're going to come right kind of underneath it. It does not matter exactly where you are, it's just wherever. And then you're going to zigzag. Lightning, 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 lightning. If you were talking about a lot, like let's say you're talking about one singular time it had it lightning. That's such a weird word to have to put past tense verbs on. Verbs. Past tense on. You would do lightning just one time. If it was one of those moments where we have constant lightning, like it's going off left and right, you would just keep going. Lightning. Okay? All right. Let's see. I keep going to look at my list and I'm like, I don't have list. It's in my head right now. And the next one I was going to do is thunder. So for thunder, what you're going to do is you're going to point to your ear first And then you're going to, I'm going to show it first before I describe it. Okay. So you go thunder, thunder. Okay. So you're going to point to your ear, have two flat fives, and you shake them back and forth into S's. So it's, and the meaning with this one is obviously they can, they cannot always hear the thunder, but they can feel the vibrations. Like it is vibrating. Especially if you have really loud thunder, you can always like feel it on top of hearing it. Okay, let's go back through those real quick that we did. So we had the sign for weather, weather. hmm hmm And you do want to make sure, yeah, they are together. Weather. Then we had sunny. So remember the sun, our flat O, pull it back and shine on us. Sunny, sunny. And it is important to make sure you add that hand turn gesture, okay? Sunny, sunny. Then we had our cloudy. So remember two fives, and you're making circular motions above your head. Cloudy. Cloudy. Then we had rain. So rain, the first one, just bouncing it, boop, boop, rain. Then we had our downpour. Mm-hmm. Downpour. We had lightning. Lightning. Mm-hmm. And then we had thunder. 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 Okay? All right. So the next one we're going to do is the sign for snow, which I know we very rarely get here, but we do occasionally get it here. And so the sign for snow is going to be in that similar position of rain. But what you're going to do is you're going to wiggle your fingers as you gently sway back and forth because snow is graceful and it doesn't just drop, it glides to the ground. I just don't know. I love this sign. And it's very upsetting that we do not get enough snow for me to use this sign often. Snow. Okay. Then we're gonna have, because we do get these often, tornadoes. There are two ways you can do it. I've seen both. I do see one a little bit more here than I do the other, but I do see both pretty common. Okay. The first one we're gonna do is you're gonna have your non-dominant palm up. Your dominant's gonna be in that position of almost that thousand that we do, and you're going to bounce it up. Tornado, tornado, tornado. And it's almost like it's making that like the squiggly lines of the spiral. Tornado, 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 tornado. The other one is you're going to have your two pointer fingers and you do tornado. Tornado, like you just spiral them. Tornado, tornado, tornado. I have seen both. When I learned tornado, but then I was seeing this one more often, tornado. Okay. Our next one we have is hurricane. Had to think about that one for a minute. So, hurricane is you're gonna have two threes. You're gonna put your fingers together. Your non-dominant comes sideways like this. Your dominant thumb is going to touch your non-dominant thumb, and then you bounce the fingers going back to your hand. Hurricane. Now, it is hard to tell, but if you bring it down and you look at your fingers, they look like the actual shape of a hurricane, having your thumbs be the eye, whereas your two fingers together are the ends, that spiral. So hurricane. I do think this one is actually very cool because it does look so visually like a hurricane on a map. Okay. Um, let's see. Earthquake. Okay, I know we don't get these here often, but I might as well give it to y'all just in case. You're going to basically do the sign for earth and then quake. All right. And quake is similar to thunder rumble. Sorry, thunder. Okay. So we're going to first do our sign for earth. And so the sign for earth is a fist. And you're going to take your middle finger and your thumb on top, like you're pinching it almost. Okay. And then you just shake it a little bit. This is earth. All right. Earth. And this is the actual like sign for like Earth as its own, even without the earthquake motion. So Earth, and then you're gonna go quake. Earth, quake,
Wait a minute.
quake.
It just occurred to me to ask after 4 years, do the planets have signs?
No,
Okay, I feel
trust
better.
me. I
Okay.
got really excited for it and then realized no.
So do you mean this is Earth
Earth.
as in like soil or Earth as in the planet?
Both. This one is
Okay,
for,
okay, okay, okay.
that's what I was trying to say. Like, it's for Earth for everything. I realized I went Earth for Earth, and I was like, that's not what I meant.
But I got
English
you.
did not come out right. Yeah. So any type of the Earth planet, touching Earth, Earth soil kind of deal, that when you're talking about Earth. But yes, unfortunately, most of the planets you have to fingerspell. Sometimes, like especially when teaching younger kids, they may shorthand it just a bit for like Mercury's like ME, things like that. I have seen that. And I had to do that one time when I had students that really struggled with finger spelling and I wanted them to focus on that concept. I have done that before, but it's not like official science. Okay. Moonlight. Yes. So moon was, I was like, oh, I need to add moon, but I was like, moon typically goes with my Halloween ones, but we're going to do it here anyways. All right. So for moon, what you're going to do is you're going to have a small C like this. You're going to have it next to your eye and then you bring it out. Moon, moon, moon. And if you can tell, it's because it does have that. I know moons don't always, the moon is not always just a crescent. It sometimes is circular, sometimes it's a bit not perfect, that sort of thing. It's still that concept of a crescent. Moon, moon. Okay. Um, let's see, there was one of floods. Okay. For flood, the sign you do for flood is you do the sign for water and then rising. Okay. So the sign for water, which we did with our drinks, is a W, and you have your pointer finger touch the corner of your mouth, water. hmm And then you're gonna go, and you literally pretend like it's, I mean, it's very visual. You're showing the water is rising. Water. hmm Water. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back. We had snow. Snow. Very graceful, very fun. I love this one. Snow. And then we had tornado. So the first one, tornado. Tornado. And then the second one, tornado. Tornado. Then we had hurricane. So remember, the threes fingers together, put the thumbs together, and bounce. Hurricane. And then we had earthquake, earthquake. So your middle and your thumb again. Sorry, I did do that one fast. Earthquake, earthquake. And then we had floods, water rising. hmm I knew they were going to do that. My neighbors arrive around this similar time, and then it always gets them when they see the lights. They freak out. Okay, I'm trying to think of any more weather signs that we use often. For hot and cold, it's the same as when we talked about the temperature of food. So cold, cold, and then hot, hot, hot. The same thing. Um, I'll give you the sign for temperature, because that one typically. Oh, that is a really good question. Okay, let me do this one first and then I'll get to that. So the sign for temperatures, you're going to have two fingers that are pointer fingers. We're going in the similar position as month, if you remember month, okay? But now instead of going down, you're going to bounce it back and forth right here. Temperature, temperature, temperature. So for temperature, you would do temperature and then 98 or whatever. Temperature, temperature 57. Um, if you are doing Celsius or degrees, I would recommend, which I know here we're weird, we do degrees, Fahrenheit. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Not just degrees. I would typically do temperature 57 Fahrenheit with add that F just a little bit. And if someone's like, I don't understand, you can fingerspell Fahrenheit, which I wouldn't want to do because that's a long word and I don't know if I could appropriately spell it correctly, but it would still work. Okay. So the good question. The question was is how when during tornadoes and sirens are going off in the field, how do deaf people know? So there are two things that they use for sure. One is having their own weather alert system. So whenever sirens go off, and I don't know if you guys watch James Spann, but he always talks about having those weather alert machines, things like that. Um, there are ways you can connect it to like technology to where it flashes flashing lights. So it'll make this like flashing light to let them know. Sometimes it also is watching the TV and paying attention for on the weather channels and stuff. Because with the sirens, that's not going to be deaf friendly. But that is a hard concept of how to appropriately get because then you'd have to have everybody in a specific location, and that's just not possible. Um, Technology's really come through a lot lately, especially with like our phones where we get alerts immediately. Hey, you're in a tornado warning, like now, take cover. We at school have a light system in every classroom and in the hallways too. So if we have any kind of emergency, like a fire, we have specific colors that match to tell us what's happening. So for a tornado, I think it's blue. I could be wrong. I can't remember the color, but we will have lights and it will be blue and we know where to go because obviously we drill those in school. For fire, fire is going to be, I'm going to show you it because it's easier to show than try to describe at the moment. It's fire. So you're just wiggling your fingers up and down. Fire. hmm Fire. So there's fire for that one as well because it's not a weather, but it can be related to the weather. So that's a good one to know for any emergencies, things like that. Okay. Let me go back to our first question we had because I do want to make sure we do this before I forget because I feel like we'll go ahead and it will be like, I've asked for these two simple questions. So, our yes and no. Yes is going to be an S and you bounce it up and down. So, think like nodding your head. Yes. No is going to be kind of in this three. Your thumb is in front of you and you're going to bring them together. No, 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 no. Okay, so yes, no. All right. Let's see. Are we good with our weather signs? Is there any other weather things you can think of? I'll leave it before I'm going to Halloween signs. So for flash flood, that one I would still kind of do like warning and then this is actually an important one. Warning. Warning is you have your non-dominant fist and you pat it. This is also for a tornado warning. Okay. So that's why I was like, oh, that is an important one. And so it's tornado warning. For flash flood, I would be like flood and then do water. Like I'm flood. Warning flood. Oh my goodness. I keep flipping back and forth. Sorry. Water flood warning for flash flood. Since that typically, whenever someone says like a flash flood, it's water is happening now. It's a warning, like be careful. That's what I would do. I'm trying to think because typically I've not seen a difference between flash flood versus a flood. If you're talking about it happening now, usually that warning kind of tells you it's happening at the moment or will be if you're not careful. So, any others, or are we good to go into some fun Halloween ones? If you cannot tell, Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, and I love when we have a week where we get to be on the same week as Halloween. Careful, that is a good one. Okay. So for careful, you're going to have two Ks. So both hands are in that K position. You're going to put them sideways and put your dominant on top. Okay. And then careful is like you just kind of put them in a circle motion. Careful, careful, careful. This is also being like carefully move that, carefully move that. Anything that's really with careful, it's right in here. For a snow blizzard, I knew someone was going to ask that one. And since we don't get them too often here, we typically go with snow. Um, but I've seen it before and I'm trying to remember what it was. Because we fingerspell blizzard. At least I do. I fingerspell blizzard because we don't get them often enough. But it's like, because if you do it too fast with snow, it starts to look like rain. But I have seen someone, I think they did snow and then they added that like downpour motion with it. So snow, like it is just coming down fast. I have seen that. But like I said, we don't typically get blizzards here as much. We may have a snowstorm, but it's more of the snow itself. It's not really that blizzard, if that makes sense. Okay. Sorry. So sorry is going to be an S. Well, I say S, but it's more like an A because you don't want to be like pushing on your thumb. You put it here and you're going to make a circular motion. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, drought. You guys are just throwing all these weather signs. Some of them I'm like, wow, we've not done these before. Okay, so for drought. Oh, I missed one. Okay, I'll get back to that one. For a drought, you basically are going to do the sign for dry. Okay? And the sign for dry is you're going to have your pointer finger on your chin. And as you pull it across, you're going to bend your finger. Dry. Drought, dry. Dry. Dry, drought, that sort of thing. They are the same sign because the concept is still the same. All right. An air raid, like in a war. I was having to think on that one. Because and this is not my signing unaware. I'm not gonna lie, it's my history unaware. I'm not the best with the history and describing things. So do not get at me for that. Okay. I would be signing like planes flying over and then drop kind of deal. That's how I would if like, or if there's flying fights, I would have cannot talk. Like this is an airplane fly. Okay. So you have two I love yous and they're flying. So this would be like if there's a battle going on in the air, that sort of thing, like, and that kind of battle motion sort of deal. And if I'm not answering your question correctly, please clarify for me. I was like, I think I know, but I was like, right. So, are you talking about like helicopters? Like, hold on. Oh, lights. Okay. Okay, I see what you're talking about. My brain was going to actual war and fly and planes fighting. And that's why I was like, yeah, that would be it. With the lights, hmm, I would have one plane and then I would light, which it's an eight that you flick on your chin. Light. Mm-hmm. Light surging kind of deal. It's hard to describe. That one's a complicated one because it's more where the word in English is simple, the explanation expanded form of it in ASL is a bit complex. That is a complicated one. So I hope it works. I know that's complicated and I apologize. Okay, let's move on to our Halloween ones. Hail. Gosh darn it. Had to get one more in there, didn't you? For hail, we do typically finger spell or we add ice with it, which, oh, I did not add ice. Okay, ice is same as frozen. If you remember when we did freeze for food, ice, ice, ice. Freeze, frozen, ice. Okay, ice, rain, ice, rain. But typically for hail. You can also fingerspell hail because sometimes hail versus can be a little bit faster. Both I've seen. So hail. Okay. All right. Now let's move on to Halloween. And then when we finish this, if we have any more, you guys have bleh. When we finish, you can ask me any more questions of science that you guys have before we finish. All right? That was a very jumbled sentence. My bad, you guys. I told Miss Katie we had yesterday off, so today was my Monday. So my day is like having those Monday days. All right. So the first time we're going to do is the sign for Halloween itself. And for the sign for Halloween, there are two ways you can do it. I have also seen another one, a third one. So I'm going to show you both. I'm going to show you the one I see more common and the one we use, and then this one, this little extra one here. Okay. So the first one for Halloween is you're going to have two open C's basically, and you're going to go Halloween. Halloween. So think peekaboo. You know when you play peekaboo, peekaboo, same concept. Halloween. Halloween. Mm-hmm. All right. The other way to do it is instead of having the whole hand, you do two fingers. So like your H's basically. And you go Halloween. Halloween. So same concept, Halloween. All right. Now, the third one I've seen is Halloween, where it's you tap your cheeks and then you flip them up. Halloween. I do not see this one as often. I have seen this one a few times though. Halloween. Okay. Halloween. I typically see more of Halloween. Halloween. Okay. So if we wanted to say happy Halloween, we're going to put our sign for happy and then our sign for Halloween. So if you remember happy, happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. All right. Okay. So then the first one, not first one, the next one I have is a haunted house. Technically with this one, the actual signing is going to be scary house. Okay. So if you remember when we talked about the word scared, being scared of something, when we talked about our feelings, I think last week, that same sign is the sign for scary. So scary, scared, scary. Remember sometimes I said some people will bounce it, scary. Scary. So that you will use and then add the sign for house, which I know you don't know. I'm giving it to you now. So you would do scary, and then house is going to be kind of like you're making the shape of the roof, and you go house, house, house. hmm House. It's the shape of you have the peak of the roof, and then you're bringing to do the sides. House, house, house. Okay, so haunted house, haunted house. Okay. The next one we have is pumpkin. So, which I think we also did with food, so it's just a quick review. Pumpkin is going to have your non-dominant as a fist, and then you're going to have that eight, and you flick the back of your hand for pumpkin. Pumpkin. Okay. The next one we have is the sign for witch. And so the sign for witch is you're going to have two X's. You're going to have your non-dominant kind of up like this. Your dominant's going to come to your nose. And I'm gonna turn sideways so you can see it. You're gonna bring it to your pointer finger. Which, 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 which. And the visual for this one, if you couldn't guess, is for the long noses that witches have in old shows and everything. Which, which, which. Okay. The next one we have is vampire. And so for vampire, you're gonna have a V, bend your fingers, and vampire. Go right on the neck. Vampire. Vampire. I love how visual Halloween signs are. That's why I was like, guys, let's get to these. I promise they're fun. All right. The next one we have is the sign for bat because vampire and bats do go together. So for bat, you're going to have two X's and you're going to cross your arms and tap your shoulders. What? Bat. Bat. And this one, if you think of the visuals, when a bat is hanging upside down, it typically crosses its arms with its little claws. Bat. Okay. The next one we have is skeleton. And so skeleton is also going to be the sign for bone. All right. So it is the same sign. We're going to have our two V's. We're going to bend them again. And then we're going to cross them kind of like we did with our bat, but not on our chest. It's right here. Bones. Skeleton, bones. And you are tapping a little bit. Okay. Then we have monster. So for monster, you're going to do monster, 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 monster. Okay? You think there's a monster outside. Quit it. All right. Let's go back through those that we did, and then we'll go on to the next. So we had our happy Halloween, happy Halloween, or also Halloween. The two H's. Either one. If you prefer this one, go for it. Then we had our haunted house. So scary house. House. We had our pumpkin. Pumpkin. We had our witch. 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 We had our vampire. 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 We had our bat. Bat. And then we had our skeleton. Skeleton. And then monster. 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 Okay. The next one we have is zombie. So for zombie, I have seen some people do monster with it. I personally like to add a little bit, and I have seen others do it too. So it's not just like, oh, I'm making this up and telling you this is the sign. Like, no, I have seen other people sign this as well. For my zombie, I do like where you have that same shape of your like monster hands, but then you go up and down. Monster. I do typically try to keep them out more where I do zombie. 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 All right. The next one we have is the sign for candy, which we did do with our food, but we're going to do it again because candy is very important and it's candy. Candy. All right. Then we have the sign for ghost. And so this one is also the sign for spirit, the same sign you would do. All right. And so what you're going to do is you're going to have your, I'm going to show you it first. I hate when I try to describe this one, I mess it up. Ghost, ghost. So it's open eights basically that you have separate, and then as you pull them together. Ghost, 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 ghost. And you do add like a little zigzag to it. I was so close. I was like, you can't even see my zigzag. Ghost, 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 ghost. All right. The next one we have is a sign for costumes. Costumes and clothes are the same sign. I have seen two variations. I'll show you both. Um, Typically you add Halloween to it to clarify that it's a costume. So the sign for costume, the first one is going to be costume. It's a 5, and your thumbs brush down your shoulders. Costume or clothes. The other one I've seen, and this is typically what I do to separate, I do this for clothes, and then I do this one for costume, is a C. And I go down. So it's like a wide C. And I'm doing the same motion I am for clothes, but instead of having my fingers splayed, they're together in that big C costume. Okay. Which one do you remember from the bot from oh, that just makes sense. I was like, which one? I had to think. I was like, what have we done? I'm jumping all over. I was like, which ones have we done? I could not recall. That makes sense. But yeah, we have our costume, our Halloween clothes. That is a very big topic right now at school, and it's very fun. We as teachers, this is our second year that we've done a group costume activity. Last year, we all dressed up as different variations of Barbie, which was really fun. Yeah, I was soccer Barbie. I was very proud. And this year, we're doing Disney princesses and villains. Oh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Very, very excited. The kids are going to love it. It's going to be funny. So, anyways, got off topic. Let me come back here. All right. The next one we have is werewolf. All right. And so for werewolf, it's going to combine wolf and man. All right. So the sign for wolf is wolf, wolf. And if you remember, man is dad to chest. Okay. So wolf, man. If you wanted to emphasize that it's a female wolf, because obviously werewolf can go for both female or man, you can add wolf woman. That is fine. That would work too. Okay. It's not has to be only man. It can be wolf female or wolf woman. You can do that. It's just the typical. He's called the wolf man. He's called werewolf. That sort of thing. Okay. Let's see. Where's our next one? All right. The next one we have is the devil, mischievous, because there is people that like to dress up like that. And you're gonna have two threes. You're gonna put your thumbs on the side of your head and you bend your fingers. All right. This is also I just clicked at the very top of my my list. Whoops, I lost my place. Aha, there we go. This is also for mischievous, being sneaky kind of deal. Like, ooh. Horse is you have the two fingers together and bend forward. Horse. So you kind of think of the ear. This is more ear, whereas this one is bending. The concept of this one is you're supposed to have like horns. Mm-hmm. Meaning it like if you're being a little like a demon, that sort of thing, it would be this one as well. Because you have the little like the different horns that come out. Okay. The next one we have is Frankenstein. I've seen a few different ones for Frankenstein. I'm going to show you two of them. So the first one for Frankenstein is you're going to have kind of like little G's and you're going to go Frankenstein. 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 So right at the neck where those bolts go. Frankenstein. Frankenstein. I have also seen it with the F's. Frankenstein. Frankenstein. I've seen both kind of change a lot. I've seen both used often. So Frankenstein, Frankenstein. Okay. Then we have mummy. Mummy is going to be, which ironically enough, I don't think we did the sign for rest. Okay. So I'm adding it here because that way you know it could be both. And so mummy is going to be mummy. 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 This is also rest. Your difference is obviously going to be context. I'm dressing up as a mummy. You're not dressing up as a rest. Most people don't dress up rest, but it does not matter which one. It's just you're comfortable. I typically have my non-dominant going across my dominant, but it's not too specific. That is a good question, though. There are some that will be that way. So, um, versus I need rest versus I need mummy. Context will really clarify that up. So, mummy. All right. Let's see. The next one we have is party. So, if you're going to a Halloween party, all right. So, party is going to be two P's and you go back and forth. Okay. And so, the reason for this one is because did we do this actually? I don't think we did this one. Dance. Did we do dance? We did? Okay, good. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. That's why I was checking. So dance is that two fingers kind of deal. I mean, it's not a perfect P, but it is the two going back and forth. The concept of the swinging back and forth is where that P with the dancing. So multiple people dancing, a party deal. Okay. All right. Our next one is going to be a pirate. And so for a pirate, you're going to go pirate. Pirate. You just cover your eye. You can always add a hook just for flair. Arr. I always think it's fun to do that because how could you not? I mean, come on now. So, all right, let's hold real quick here and go back because I did throw a lot and we have not stopped. I want to go back through those again before we kind of finish out and then I will leave it open for questions and stuff. Okay? So, where did we stop? There we go. That's where we stopped. All right. So we had zombie. Ow, hit my knuckle. Zombie. We had candy, candy. We had ghost, ghost, ghost. We had costumes, costumes or costumes, the C. We had werewolf, wolf man or wolf woman. We had devil slash demons, devil demon. We had Frankenstein, Frankenstein or Frankenstein. We had mummy, mummy. Then we had party, party. And then pirate, pirate. Oh. It's just really fun to add the little here. And I know they can't always hear the but I have to do it every time. It feels wrong not to do it. Okay. If you're gonna be a pirate, you gotta be a pirate. All right. My last few ones I have are the next one I have is clown. Okay, so clown is going to be clown. It's like you think about the nose. Clown. Clown. Okay. And if you're talking about being a scary clown, you would do scary clown. Scary clown. Okay. And then, so I know this one everyone probably is waiting for is trick or treat. Trick or treat varies so much. I've talked to so many people about how they sign trick or treat, and almost every time someone's got a new sign for me. So for me, what I typically do is I do trick or treat. And so what it is I'm knocking, like knocking candy and then opening the bag. Trick or treat, candy, knock, that sort of thing. I flip the three. It is very complicated. So you have like the motion of knocking, and with the candy, you open the bag. So I'm opening it up. That's typically what I do. Um, I've also seen the sign for trick or treat, like actual trick treat. That was when I actually started signing in the beginning, and then I kind of changed to this one because this one doesn't always make sense because you're not always making tricks. Most of the time, it is just going for candy. And so for this one, the sign for trick is going to be two X's, and you're going to have your non-dominant sideways, your dominant sideways above, and you're going to slide it across. Trick, trick. This is also joke. So like I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Joke. Okay, so trick or treat. So trick or candy. Joke or candy. That sort of thing. Trick or treat. I have seen that one, but I typically see more of the knocking candy open, like kind of what was it they did? Knock. Knock. I mean, I'm telling you, every single time I talk to someone, it is a different sign. And I'm like, guys, this is a big deal for our kids. We have to be consistent. So it is always funny to me. I just look at them and I say, you want candy? You'll be getting candy if you will go with us to get, because we do trick-or-treating at our school. We actually go out and go through the school, the entire campus, and take our kiddos. It's a very big deal at my school, and I love it for it. So, okay. The, I think that is actually it. It is. I overlooked it. Oops. Well, my last one actually was black cat. So, it's just combining black and cat. So black is black, if you remember, cat, black cat. Okay. So I'm not going to leave it up. If you have any, I mean, it can be Halloween signs or just any generic signs that you guys are curious of. They don't have to be fully on this topic. Anything like that you guys can think of, anything you are curious of that may not be a sign, but how does conversation go? Things like that. Any questions you have? Okay. Oh, I don't think we have. We have not. That's a good one. Okay. So I am going to do this in order though. Merry Christmas. And I have a funny story for this one. That's why I was kind of giggling. Merry Christmas, you're basically going to say Happy Christmas. Okay, so Merry is happy because that's typically what you're meaning. And the sign for Christmas, I have seen two. I've seen this one more often than I've seen this one. Okay, the first one is you're gonna have your non-dominant sideways, and you're gonna start here and go Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. So it's a C and comes up, Christmas. Merry Christmas, Christmas. Okay, Christmas. The other one I've seen is Christmas, and it's like the wreath. I don't see this one as often anymore. I just see this one Christmas more often. So happy Christmas. The reason I was giggling is we are putting on a Christmas program if I play. I think I mentioned it a few times. And I was having to type out the story in English that I'm going to have to translate into ASL for a gloss, which is basically just meaning writing this English, writing the story in ASL structure. And the first thing I did when it was like the first character is like talking and saying Merry Christmas, I straight up put in English, Happy Christmas. And one of my coworkers was like, but do hearing people say Happy Christmas? And I was like, you know what? Okay, that's the sign for it. We're good enough here because my brain is like, the connection Merry and Happy is just, they're the same sign. So I literally put Happy Christmas and I got teased for it. And I was like, whatever, I don't care. I promise you, it's still the same thing. They will know. That's why I was giggling. What was I, there was something else I was gonna say with that, but I can't remember. Oh, I was gonna add Santa here because Santa's a good one to know as well. Um, and so for Santa, it's just Santa. It's almost like you're doing a lot of sugar, if you remember sugar. So Santa, Santa, Santa. Some people do Santa with the beard, like the season is the beard. Santa. So you're like kind of bouncing it like you're making different like layers of the beard. Santa. But yeah, just a little fun one there. Help. Okay. The sign for help is you're gonna have your palm up and you're gonna have a thumbs up. Okay, and you're gonna tap. This is help. All right. Now, if you remember, I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember if we have done this. Y'all are throwing me because some of y'all are doing it. I'm like, wait a minute, did we talk about this or did you see it ahead? Um, so for help, this is what's called one of those directional signs, okay? And with this, it means that wherever you direct it to is going to be how you would say the sentence. So you need help would be like, do you need me to help you? That sort of deal would be, so you'd start with help at you and bring it towards that person. So help you need me to help you, you need help. If I'm the person who needs help, I'm going to have it away from me and bring it towards me. I need you to help me. Help me. Okay. If I want this person here, we're going to pretend this person here to help this person, I would go help. You help them. Go help. So that's how you make the sentence. You're not having to say me help you. You just automatically smooth that motion in one. And that is the sentence fully. I will help you. I help you. That sort of thing. Okay. I was trying to think of what else there was. There's another one that was with that I was gonna do. Borrow. I know we didn't do this one, but I feel like I should add this because that's another directional sign. And so the sign for borrow is gonna be two Ks, similar to our careful, except this time you're gonna bring it. Borrow, borrow. Okay, borrow. So if I wanted to borrow from you, I'd be borrow. You are giving it to me. I'm going to bring it temporarily. So it's coming towards me because I'm borrowing it. Okay. If I was going to going to lend it to someone, let them borrow it, I would borrow. You can borrow. Borrow. And the same thing again with person, people. If someone here is giving it to this person so they can borrow, it'd be borrow. You can borrow, borrow, borrow. All right. It does seem a little strange, but it does very much make sense. And it does have that implied signing that I think helps a lot too. It's very visual. You can't miss who you're talking to. Okay. All right. Back on our weather. Someone is obsessed with weather over there. All right. For tsunami, I do see that one finger spelled a bit more. I do think it's because we do not see them as often. We do get the impacts, but not as much. So I do see finger spelled tsunami, or bad, like really bad rain, like weather, that sort of thing. Typically, it's more describing it like tsunami, the water sort of deal. Fog is going to be the same as cloudy, but you will bring it here more. So like it's up and then can't see, like you're like, I can't see, it's cloudy. It's dark and cloudy. You would bring it down more in your face. Okay. Mist. I do see fingers spelled. Mist. Because it's such a little bit, and it's not always exactly rain, it's just misting. Typically it's finger spelled. Or I have seen some people say rain lightly, but even then that could still just be light rain. It's still rain, it's not mist. So I just finger spell mist. Okay. Any other questions you guys have? Okay. All right. So names of cities and countries. More popular a city is, the more likely they are going to have a name sign. Um, Most of the time, though, they are fingerspelled. Countries that are a bit similar, the more popular, well-known they are, the more they'll have a sign. The more, not vague, but the more not as familiar, they're not going to be having a name sign. Okay. So, for example, for cities, here in Alabama, we do have a few, which let me just show that. The signs for the states, okay, are mostly going to be their letters. So like Alabama is ALA, Alabama. You just bounce it back and forth. Alabama. Alabama. Okay. Um, but we have a few specific cities that have names because we go there often, or we have a group of students that live that area, or they ride the bus for that area. Okay. So, for example, Birmingham, because Birmingham is a big city. Birmingham is a B, and you go Birmingham, and it's close to the corner of your mouth. Birmingham. 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 Um, for Huntsville. Huntsville, I think we did when we did rocket, is you're gonna have your non-dominant, and instead of doing the cross fingers for the rocket, you're gonna just have it a flat HU and go up Huntsville. Okay, Huntsville. Montgomery does have its own because it is the capital. And so for Montgomery, it's going to be, I'm going to show you first because it is hard to describe Montgomery. Montgomery. And so it's an M, you're going to go out and you're going to curl it in. Montgomery. 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 And the reason for this is because anything that has to do with the government, like the sign for government itself is a G, government, government, makes that motion. So like politics is politics, politics, like with the P. So that's why Montgomery is up here because that is our capital, Montgomery. Okay. Um, Helena does, it is fingerspelling. Unfortunately, there are very few that I know that have name signs. Again, it's very local. Like Talladega does have its own. And so for Talladega, it's a T and you go across and down. Talladega. Talladega.
I
Talladega.
was really, really hoping you were going to say for Talladega, you went like really fast.
Like the Speedway? Yeah, you would think because we're like, I mean, oh my gosh, yeah. But yeah, it's Talladega. Um, I'm trying to think of some others. We have, oh, Mobile down below is going to be that M, and you're going to shake it back and forth next to your head. Mobile. It's like a flat M, so it's not fully curled, it's flat, and you just go back and forth. Mobile. Yeah. Oh, Oxford and Anniston do have one, and it's going to be your non-dominant is in this like bent shape. You have an O, you start at your wrist and you bring it to your shoulder. Oxford. 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 For Aniston, it's an A. Aniston. Okay. I think that's all I can think of at the moment. Like I said, not many. The more specific of a city you get, the better off you are finger spelling. It's just there's just too many cities, and too many of the same name, that it would just get really confusing easily. So, but for countries, I can show at least America. And so for America, it's going to be you're going to have your fingers kind of crossed together like this. You're going to start kind of at your, it's typically lower America, America. I'm having to think about where I put my, when I do America. It's kind of around chest level and you go America, America. So it's like a circular motion, America, America. If you're talking about USA, you just fingerspell USA. USA. It's like circular. USA. So it's very similar, USA. Um, oh goodness, I am not good at it. Because then I like, you should see there's other people that do it really well. I do know it, but let me tell you, when I have to like think about it, like I take too long because I go too specific. But like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. My favorite is the Rockets Red Glare because it's always rockets and they do this and they go, and then it's like like bombs bursting, again, explosion, and then it's like through the night that our flag still there. And then like you're like it's very visual. It is so hard to do. Mainly because I catch myself transitioning from ASL to English and I need to stop it. I need to just full ASL. I do recommend watching people that do the national anthem for I did the Pledge of Allegiance. What in the world? I just did the national anthem. My brain's not here, guys. I literally was going through it. It's because that's what I'm thinking of when I think of it all. That is so my bad. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe as a teacher I just did that.
Listen, in your defense, it is 6:30 the week of Halloween.
It
So
is. It is. Oh, it's a crazy week. The Pledge of Allegiance. Oh my goodness. I was having to think. I just went through all that for the national anthem, and I love how I said it, and that's what caught me. And I went, wait a minute, national anthem. I'm over here chatting about the national anthem, not the pledge. Um, I can do it real quick. That one I do know, but I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There, I did that one fast.
from now on, everybody's learning this in class. We've never done that.
Oh my gosh, that is such
I'm
a
so
long one though. And
excited.
I even butchered it a few times because I voiced it while I did it. I caught myself. I was like, why am I still voicing? But yeah, so that
That
was
was
the Pledge of
awesome.
Allegiance. I was doing it fast so we can fit in the time. Um, but yeah, so countries does have some of the countries do have their own, but like I said, we don't have all of them. And I do recommend, oh, have we sent out the list of different websites that are useful and things like that?
But I can do that.
Okay, because there's a few websites that I myself have used in the past and I still use just to like double check things that are very helpful. And I recommend if you're ever curious, you can look and they will have them there. Um, Last question I want to address real quick was the how do you indicate a question mark? So if you remember when we asked our WH question words, our eyebrows make a big difference, okay? So when you're asking a question of do you need help, that is a yes or no question. Your eyebrows are going to go up. Help? Help. Yeah, you have them up. And I promise it may look silly, it may feel silly in the beginning because we're not used to having to like make our eyebrows go big like that. It is very natural in ASL. And the more you're exposed and practice with that, the more comfortable you do get. So help, help, help. And if you remember the questions, who, what, when, we're going to have the eyebrows down. So up, yes or no, down needs actual like specifics. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. And it's 6:35. I don't want to keep you because I could keep you and apparently do the national anthem instead of the Pledge of Allegiance because that's where my brain went. But I do hope you guys have enjoyed this class. If there's ever any signs that you're like, oh, I really would like to know, you're more than welcome to join our later classes and just ask that. You can also email Miss Katie if it's something that you're like, I really do want to know this, like it's a big thing. And she will get to me and I will try my best to email. Sometimes I read the emails on my phone and then I will look at it and be like, yes. And then I like mentally respond sometimes. And I'm trying to be better about that. I have done that. Poor Miss Katie has also gotten on the side of that. And I'm like, oh, I did not email you at all. And I was like, I saw it, I promise. So, um, but yes, just email Katie and
Yeah,
then
you
she
can
will
email
let me.
me
Mm-hmm.
and I'll get in
And
touch with Jillian. But also, like Isabella had just asked about taking we've had people take the class we had a fella take it for like a year and a half, it seemed like. We are more than happy for you to come back, and take the class again. So yeah, just get in touch with me.
Even if it's just to pop in and be like, hey, I have this quick question. Can I ask this question? You're more than welcome to do that. Pop in. We'll answer the question. If you want to stay, you can. If you're like, I already know this, you can leave. We're pretty flexible, I think. We're not too strict on things like that. But then there's also the videos as well that you can always go back and review too.
Yep. Okay.
But
Y'all have a happy Halloween. Wait.
yes, y'all enjoy your Halloween and y'all rest and be ready for all the candy.
Yay.
But thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.